Weather Extra December bringing in those colder temperatures as we head into the third day of meteorological winter. We're on your side with how chilly we're expecting it to get and when we could see our next chance for rain. And not only has it been cold here, we're taking you across the nation to places who saw record-breaking snow over the weekend and how lake effect snow played a big part in where that happened. And we bring you tips on how you can stay healthy during these colder days.
Live on your side. First Alert Weather Extra starts right now.
And thank you for staying with us for Weather Extra. Well, look closely. You might see a few snowflakes there on the screen. There were a few flakes. It's kind of tough to see here at night, but this was in Tennessee in Wilson County, just north of Nashville. Heather Carter sharing this video. I posted it a few moments ago on my social media feeds, but there is some light snow happening out there. Very light for areas to the north. The big question, could we see a few flurries around here? Let's go to the next big thing here. We've got the Weather Extra for you. Freezing temperatures for the overnight. Lows down into the 20s, and it looks like for areas to the far north, there might be a few flurries. Not seeing anything on radar right now, but we are seeing some cold weather. Look at these temperatures already down to 34 at Gadsden, 37 at Pell City. We're going to be below freezing for several hours tonight in some locations. That's why I've been talking about a hard freeze possibility for some areas. Certainly the kind of weather where you want to make sure the pipes are protected. It's that kind of cold out there tonight, but down to 37 at Anniston. And as we back the view out, look at all this. We have some snow happening and a disturbance that's dropping in on the northwest flow here. We call these Alberta Clippers as they take that path to the north. We see a lot of these during the winter time, and most often the snow with these reaches states north of us, but by the time this digs into Alabama tonight, a lot of this is going to fall apart. But it may squeeze out maybe a few flurries, places like around Lake Gunnersville, perhaps over towards Mentone and Fort Payne early tomorrow morning. But looking at the next 24 hours here on the forecast data, this is the new data in, and you can see by 9 o'clock tonight as this moves further south, a lot of this just falls apart. Maybe a stray flurry, but notice further south, we're also saying mostly clear for these areas to the south, so not a lot of cloud cover out there for tonight. So we're calling it partly cloudy, more clouds to the north, obviously. And then we're going to be talking about freezing conditions in the morning, also again for Wednesday morning, but quickly some changes happen. We have some rain coming back Wednesday night, so one of the next big things we're talking about. But again, even though we have 38 there at 8 o'clock, some locations already colder than that. It's a rapid drop in those temperatures tonight, so a first alert for a cold start. And look at these feels-like temperatures tomorrow morning, down into the teens early in the day. Again, these are not the actual temperatures, the feels-like temperatures. When you factor in that north breeze early on, so really cold start there early tomorrow morning, and we'll see lows again down into the 20s. So as we prepare for these frigid temperatures, now is also a good time to talk about the best practices, of course, for that cold weather safety and for safety when it comes to home fireplaces. And your Shelby County reporter, Ajane Robinson, joins us from Saginaw after a house fire caused a chimney to collapse, leaving a huge hole in the wall.
Now, Saginaw firefighters tell me thanks to working smoke detectors that alerted the family early on, that's what helped save a lot more of the home. But unfortunately, the chimney did collapse, leaving a huge hole. Now, firefighters say the fire started in the chimney of the fireplace. When crews arrived, they found fire coming from the attic and spreading down to the basement. Firefighters say this can happen because the fireplace hadn't been cleaned out. It's collecting debris that becomes fuel for the fire, which extended up into the chimney, also causing significant smoke damage to the basement. Now, firefighters say there are some things you can do before you light your fire.
We recommend just making sure you know what kind of fireplace you have, how to use it, what kind of wood to use in it. Make sure you're using dry wood specifically for fireplaces, and making sure that your fireplace is cleaned regularly and inspected annually.
Now, firefighters say that even though the fireplace was connected to the outside of the home, they can still collapse, causing significant damage. Now, firefighters say make sure that you have those working smoke detectors, and when you light your fireplace, make sure to check to see if any smoke is leaking out. Your reporter in Saginaw, Ajane Robinson, WBRC 6 News, on your side.
Well, the Jimmy Hill Mission will be opening its doors tonight. It opened at 6 p.m. and will be open until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Pathway Shelter is on Richard Arrington Jr. Boulevard, is also open and is a warming station open to women and children. And in East Alabama, Ministry in Gadsden have opened their doors to people in need of shelter and food as the weather turns cold. Your East Alabama reporter Reggie Kyle spoke with an organizer with how you can help.
Patrick Washington says it's natural for him to serve others. Founder of Dynamic Outreach Ministries, he says all a person needs is for someone to show that they care. Now, Washington says Dynamic Outreach Ministries is a place of comfort. With temperatures dropping and people needing a warm place to stay, he says it became an opportunity for him to serve and minister at the same time. Going above and beyond with the help of his wife, he says he stepped out on his faith and decided to leave his comfort zone and help those who need it the most. Having been through tough times in his life, Patrick says he understands how a person could need a little help to get back on their feet.
My father, my mother taught me to always give back, and it's important, especially on our Christian walk, to give back to others in need. A lot of them have a good story. I mean, they're regular people like me, so I mean, they just need a helping hand to get up.
Patrick Washington says the warming station will be open Monday through Friday from 6 p.m. to 8 a.m. until the summer of 2025. It'll then be converted into a cooling station for those hot summer months. I'll put information in this story on our WBRC News app if you would like to donate. Your reporter in Gadsden, I'm Reggie Kyle for WBRC 6 News on your side.
Cold temperatures aren't the only thing we can typically expect through the month of December. Meteorologist Matt Daniel joins us now with what we can expect as we go through the last month of the year.
Hey, we are in December. It is technically meteorological winter, which is the months of December, January, and February. And of course, we got your holiday countdown. Lots of things happening between now and the new year. 19 days away until winter's official. And then we've got Christmas, 23 days away and 30 days until we say goodbye to 2024 and hello to 2025. So let's talk about what to expect when it comes to our climate in the month of December. Well, on average, our high temperature is about 60 degrees for December 1st. By the middle part of the month, we'll see those average high temperatures drop around 57 degrees, and then we'll be in the mid 50s by December 31st. What about average low temperatures? Well, check this out. Usually we'll see lows right around 40, although we've been well below average to start the month. And then as we go towards the end of the month, our average low temperatures usually dipping down into the mid 30s. And obviously we see changes where you get those freezing temperatures and above average temperatures. And what about rainfall so far for this year? Well, for Anniston for 2024, we picked up over 48 inches of rainfall, which, believe it or not, still looking at a small surplus of about a half of an inch for the year. So not too bad. But what about Birmingham? We picked up over 44 inches of rain for 2024, but on average, we should be about 52 inches. So we do have a rainfall deficit of over 7 inches for the year. And then what about Tuscaloosa? We picked up to over 45 inches so far this year, and we do have a deficit a little over 3 inches. So what does it look like for December when it comes to rainfall potential? Well, we've gone through the driest months, and now that we're entering the winter and getting closer to spring, that's when we start seeing an uptick in rainfall totals. So for December, on average, we'll pick up about 4.5 to 5 inches of rainfall, and it ends up a little bit wetter as we go into January, February, and especially going into March. But get ready, it's December. It can be kind of crazy around here. It can get really warm, also can get really cold.
Yeah, it's a wild month weather-wise, and we are certainly keeping a close Weather Extra eye on it. In 30 seconds, we take a trip across the nation to places where winter got an early head start over the weekend. We'll be right back with more First Alert Weather Extra. Stay with us. All right, temperatures dropping quickly across the area. Some pick locations. Let's head into Piedmont. Mickey's at Piedmont right now. They're having the Christmas parade tonight. Notice it's 35 degrees, showing 35 here around places like Knighton's Crossroads. Let's go further to the east here, or west. Some pick locations around Raglan and Wattsville. You can see they're already tumbling into the upper 30s. South into Shelby County, seeing a lot of 40s around Shelby at 42. Also around Wilsonville at 40 degrees. West Alabama, you can see around Tuscaloosa right now, down into the low 40s, and north around Haleyville. Soon a break into those upper 30s here across Winston and Marion counties. How cold out the door tomorrow morning? A lot of 20s there on the map, showing as low as 23, 22 degrees in some spots here to the north. So bundle up out there. Cold start, and it's going to be a struggle tomorrow to see temperatures reaching the mid 40s. Even with sunshine, we have a cold Tuesday coming up for tomorrow. But we'll talk a lot more about those colder temperatures and the next chance for wet weather. But speaking of cold, well, taking you to the northeast now to Highmark Stadium, where it was transformed into a winter wonderland Sunday night. The Buffalo Bills hosted the San Francisco 49ers, where Highmark Stadium saw more than 2 feet of snow over the weekend. Just unreal there, all that snow. And out there watching the game, observers in Orchard Park measured a total of 26.2 inches of snow, according to the National Weather Service. And this snow event was a part of a larger event that brought several feet of snow across the northeast over the weekend. It's called, of course, Lake Effect Snow, that Lake Effect Snow machine, and it's continuing to bring those frigid temperatures from Ohio to New York State. That northwest flow over the waters of the Great Lakes causes those snow bands to set up. They're also facing up to 2 more feet of snow through tomorrow. This has been the first significant lake effect snowfall of the season, and more than 2 million people are feeling the effects. According to the National Weather Service, Copenhagen, New York saw 58.8 inches, nearly 5 feet of snow by Sunday night. But again, what exactly is lake effect snow? It develops when cold air from Canada, and typically it's got to be coming in a certain direction. We call that the fetch, and it moves over the warmer waters in the Great Lakes. Of course, that air rises, condenses, and as that cold air passes over the lakes, the moisture from the water is picked up, and that rising air then turns into clouds and those bands of heavy snowfall. Sometimes you can even have convective snows. I've seen thunder snows in those areas up to 3 inches per hour, but in this situation up to 4 inches of snow was falling per hour across the northeast, bringing extensive amounts of snow and overwhelming crews who are working to remove the snow and ice from roads and highways. So as cold air continues to impact numerous regions across the country, we're showing you how thermal imaging cameras are used by first responders and how it provides a good visual of what bitterly cold temperatures can do to the human body.
A normal body temperature is 98.6 degrees, which shows up as this white light on this thermal imaging camera used by first responders. Firefighters normally use it to find people in search and rescue scenarios.
Right now you're noticing the temperature difference between the skin and the outer layers of clothing. As you can see, the temperature change.
A few years ago, Tuscaloosa firefighters let me try it out.
Now I want to show you how quickly your body can lose heat. You can see my face is pretty much all white right now.
I stood outside in the cold for just a few minutes.
And this is what less than 5 minutes out in this cold can do. You can see my tips of my fingers have turned a dark blue color, and the longer you're out in this cold, the more you run the risk of something potentially serious happening.
And take a look at my face too. You can see a dark color beginning to form there.
You really want to do everything you can to keep your head, the core of your body warm, keep moving, and get out of the cold as quickly as you can and warm yourself up.
Former longtime Hoover firefighter and safety expert Rusty Lowe says you need to have everything covered up if you have to be outside in extremely cold temperatures. You don't want hypothermia to set in.
You want to protect your skin and as much of your body as you can.
According to the National Weather Service, most hypothermia deaths can occur with temperatures between 30 and 50 degrees. If you or your clothing gets wet, then hypothermia becomes even more likely. And check out this cool video created by NASA for all the space fans out there. Their take on a holiday you can see video showcasing engines that launched the Artemis 1 rocket to the moon instead of the classic burning logs. The blasting engines play on a loop for 8 hours. While you're watching, you can also listen to a low-level roar of the rockets, along with some cracks and pops that you would expect from a traditional holiday videos. A little different than Santa Claus. What do you think? So don't go anywhere. We're going to be talking about what we're expecting for this first week of December and go through a recap of tornado season across central Alabama this year. We're still in that active severe weather season. A lot to talk about. Stay tuned for more Weather Extra. And welcome back into First Alert Weather Extra. Down to 34 degrees here at Coleman. That temperature is actually coming in from Vinemont, but we're not far all across the county here from those freezing conditions. Areas to the far north. Still seeing a lot of snow over parts of Tennessee. Is very, very light precipitation is having to overcome a lot of dry air, but I've seen a lot of video, as we showed you here on Weather Extra earlier, of some light flurries happening there. Maybe a little dusting for states to the north. As for us, though, we're not seeing enough moisture for any issues around here. Maybe a flurry or two to the far north, but AccuTrack, of course, the big story, the cold, showing those temperatures right now dipping into the 30s, already ahead of schedule for a lot of areas out there. And tonight, you can see by 10 o'clock, we're seeing readings down in the freezing range. 6 o'clock in the morning, look at those 20s out there. Crank up the heat. It is going to be a cold one tonight, and early tomorrow morning, those temperatures in the 20s. It's going to be a struggle to break into the upper 40s tomorrow. I think during the afternoon, it's mainly low to mid 40s. So a cold day, even though we will have lots of sunshine, at least that sunny weather is going to help us out. But that north wind at 5 to 10 is going to bring wind chills down into the teens early tomorrow morning. So we rise above freezing during the day. That's a good thing. But tomorrow night, it won't take long again. By 7 o'clock, even colder tomorrow night with temperatures down into the 20s. And we'll likely see some low 20s again out the door early on Wednesday. But after that, Wednesday during the day, we start to see some clouds build in. Temperatures make a nice little rebound into the 50s out ahead of the next system. It's going to bring a chance for some showers Wednesday night. But once some of that moisture starts to lift into this dry air, temperatures drop again. But the good news is we stay above freezing, so we're not expecting any freezing rain. This is the kind of scenario that could bring some icy weather if temperatures are cold enough, but not seeing that in this particular case. I think late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning, it's just a cold rain. Lows down into the 40s with rain falling, and then by Thursday during the day, maybe some leftover cloud cover, but the wet weather moves out very, very early. So the rest of the day looks dry and also dry going into Friday, but again, those temperatures taking a tumble again at night. You can see lows down into the 20s. As for this weekend, right now, it looks like Sunday, the better chance for wet weather. We could see some rain as early as Saturday, but I think our chances are greater of having some nice little breaks there, making plans on Saturday. But Sunday looks like wet weather comes back, and then Monday some of that rain could linger. So we do have a first alert, not seeing severe weather. Notice how the temperatures are in the 50s, and we're looking at those readings also into the 60s. But as we look at that long range outlook here and beyond the 7-day forecast, again, we first off are going to have that moisture coming back with that next system that's going to be setting up by the middle of the week. But we got this big trough over the eastern U.S. Notice again, you can see that one disturbance that drops south there in that trough. Once this lifts out or starts to move out, it looks like into the middle of the week, we'll start to see more of a southwesterly flow temporarily. That's going to bring that chance for some showers I mentioned into Wednesday night and into Thursday. But in the long range, you get out around December 10th to December 16th, the Climate Prediction Center, some of the long range outlooks suggesting the temperatures may flip back to near or above average perhaps in that December 10th to December 16th stretch. Again, that's some of the long range data. It does look like the precipitation chances stay close to normal, which December, as Matt was talking about earlier, can bring quite a bit of rainfall. So I do think we're going to see some beneficial wet weather coming up, and especially if that system this weekend, it has the potential to set up shop with a soggy setup perhaps into the start of next week. But this is a time of year when we certainly have some very active weather, and as we switch gears now and head to meteorologist Megan Thomas, we reflect on severe weather season and just how many tornadoes we saw this year.
As they watched the line of storms come through early Thanksgiving morning, there was one tornado warning issued for Elmore County around 5:45. And it got me thinking, how many tornado warnings have been issued for central Alabama this year? Well, the National Weather Service in Birmingham has issued only 6 tornado warnings in 2024, including the very brief one early Thanksgiving morning for Elmore County. Now, this year was busier for those served by the National Weather Service offices in Huntsville, Mobile, and Tallahassee. But the central part of Alabama has enjoyed a very, very calm year. Notice Tallahassee 73, Huntsville at 43. We are sitting right at 6. The last time we had a year with under 10 warnings was 37 years ago in 1987, when 5 warnings were issued for the year. And with this cold and stable air mass in place, we see no severe weather risk or storms for at least the next 7 to 10 days in central Alabama.
Well, after the break, we have a final check on your weather and a look at some of your first alert weather photos. We'll take another check on that forecast. Stay with us. You're watching Weather Extra.